Good day. Welcome to today's Conversation podcast. Today we are privileged to host Kasonde Mwenda. Is a published author, is a politician, and is an activist who has been noted by the country for his various, especially video statements. Mr. Mwenda, good day and welcome to today's Conversation podcast.
I'm grateful for giving me this opportunity to be on this podcast, and I look forward to a very good, engaging discussions, knowing that which you bring to the table.
You are seen in the country. You are a leader of a political party, but people don't know who Kasonde Mwenda is. Let's start from there. Who is Kasonde Mwenda?
Thank you. The lenses are diverse, depending on who asks. But now that you have asked, I'll say I'm a parent. I've got 4 kids. I'm married to Muiza, and we've been married for more than 12 years. Professionally, I'm an architect and also a legal scholar. I've done a bachelor in law as well as a master's in law, apart from my architecture. Yeah. So I come to this table most likely from the political angle, of which I'm the president for the Economic Freedom Fighters. It's a vibrant party. We believe in delivering economic emancipation, the economic freedom that has eluded our country for a long time, and we believe this generation has got a duty, and the duty is to deliver economic.
Wonderful. Tell us about your early life before we begin to discuss the hard stuff.
I was born in the far north. I started my school in Mungwi. Actually, I started my school in Pika, Sakanya, went to Msungu, from Msungu went to Mbala Chila, and then went to Mulungushi, primary school there. Then I went to Mbala Secondary School. Then I went to Mungu Technical High School, where I was privileged to have been in the shoes where the late Anderson Mazoka was. And then I extended my education to the Kapwepwe University, where I did my bachelor in architecture. I also went to Unilas. That's where I did my master's in law, a master of philosophy in intellectual property. Then I went to Zikas University with Onza, and that's where I did my bachelor's degree in law.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Our feet shall take us there. Tell us about that theme. I think that's the first time other than when I noted when you were a student leader at Kapwepwe University, I think when you started that theme where you picked a subject or picked a topic or picked a place and you signed off with that statement.
Thank you. I'll pick it up from your side. I first encountered you through our feed to take us there, and that should have been in 2009. You gave me a call. I know you can't remember.
Wow.
You gave me a call that I traveled from Kapwepwe to Lusaka to meet you because I had just been expelled from the Kapwepwe University when I was student union president.
Yes.
That was under the Rupia Banda regime, and then Dora Silia was the education minister. And you were confident we were going to convince the government to reinstate me. With hope, I took off from...
You traveled to the Kapwepwe to come and meet
with my last money. I didn't tell you that was my last money. I traveled, I met you, and we went together to Chilenje to go and pick your BMW.
Yeah.
We had taken it for repair. I know you can't remember this. We got it together. It was my first time meeting you. It was our first time meeting each other.
Yeah.
You are so sympathetic. You are wondering why a young man so shy was expelled. And you knew I was a good boy. Of course I was.
You were a leader of students,
Of
and I
course.
think that probably was my deepest concern.
Yes, you were worried that a young boy, I was just a boy, had been expelled from school. So we went to see Madame Dora Silia for you to help me beg. We went to Pamos.
Yeah.
To cut a long story short, you and me never saw her. We just saw her in the corridor, and she saw you, and she said, "No, I'm not meeting you with that boy." And that's how my journey to Kapwepwe to Lusaka ended. You sympathized, you tried your best, and I appreciated.
Yeah.
So
No, just a little secret. Many people, those are things they don't know about. Our lives away from cameras. for me, there are many people I receive calls, like you did call, and I respond and I want to help. In a way, I could help. There was a warming message the other day. So I met a young man at Central Mall in Kablonga, and he was in the car. He stopped by and he came literally running, leaving the car running. He came and said, "Sir, do you remember me?" And I don't remember him. So he says, no, I was a student who had qualified to come to the university. You were permanent secretary in 2011 in Northern Province. And I came to you. I didn't have transport money. I lost my father, raised by my mother, and you know the challenges of a rural area. But I was qualified, and the investor had accepted me. So you gave me first my transport money and money to settle when I arrive. So he was telling me that as he's now pursuing a PhD in Europe, he finished his school at the University of Zambia. He got a scholarship to go to Norway. He's done some master's programs, I think 2 of them, and now he's pursuing a PhD. So one single act of generosity, and I don't even remember it like you are saying. I may not even remember, but you remember that we even went to see to pick my BMW, my green BMW in Chilenje. Wonderful. So you are a student activist, you are a leader at the Kapwepwe University, and then you are expelled because, of course, you are agitating for the welfare of students. Take us from there.
Yes, I'd gone into the student union fraternity as a student union president at the Kapwepwe University, and I noticed one assignment we had. We went for a meeting. It was in Siavonga, where we met. It was a vice chancellor's meeting, but every vice chancellor needed to go with a student representative, and the Kapwepwe University took me. And in that meeting, we had deliberated on issues that really got me worried. It was at a moment when they were initiating a program to phase out the loan scheme that most people who are vulnerable that can't afford university fees are usually helped by government with a loan scheme, bursary as we used to call it. Now we had reached a moment when it was being phased out. And in that meeting, I heard people, I still remember people strongly, vice chancellors, people who had been trained by the government, advocating that it comes to an end. I remember Professor Kashoki was there. I remember Professor Samkanga from UNZA. I remember Professor Mike Mtalemsonda from the Kapwepwe University. I still remember people who were there. And there was also Madame Dorothy. And they were saying, we are removing this thing. You can't have children and you fail to pay for them. If you have children, you're supposed to sponsor them. And I'm looking at these elderly people who are expected to be the fountains of wisdom, who were educated not by their parents, but by the government. And then they are saying you can't have children and fail to sponsor them. Then why are you having children for government to sponsor? And I was hurt because I was under government sponsorship. Yeah. I had graduated from high school, from Mungu Technical High School. Yeah. And I don't think me, a teacher, I could have never afforded to have university education. I was relying on government. I had worked hard. I had gotten quite some good results. So government sponsored me. So when I heard that, I started to speak. They told me to shut up. I was a young boy, and they told me, you have come here to learn. I said, but then why did you invite me? I looked like a rascal, but I'm glad. I remember Professor Zamkanga, probably can't even remember. He had to call me by the side and say, Kasonde, these things we all don't agree with them. Those people, me, I agree with you. We need to sponsor. He encouraged me, and Professor Mtalemsonda encouraged me. But when we came back, I knew pupils had applied to come to university, and I knew they were not going to be given sponsorship. So I knew it was time to fight. It was already April. Yes, it was April, and school was opening in March, like now. And I knew it was just a month. The first list came, and they were going to remove sponsorship in phases, and they did the first cut. And then I remember there could have been people like me who were poor and had finally gotten a chance to invest, and they accepted them, and they were not going to go into university. So I said, no, I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to go on a hunger strike. So I quickly rushed to the police, got the police permit, and strangely enough, they allowed me. I had a hunger strike in Kitwe, urging that government should not cut off bursaries. There are so many poor people like us. So I was sleeping at Campo Samabwe. They wanted
at Civic Center. Civic Center, that roundabout.
Yes, I was very safe. No one was keeping me. The street kids would come at night, bring me lollipops, and they would make a human shield around me. It was fun. I was young. I didn't know how dangerous it was, but looking back, it was dangerous, but they kept me. And on the third day, the police came, paramilitary got me and said, no, you're causing too much agitation. we are taking you.
Because by then, your hunger strike had attracted attention.
Yes.
The media now was reporting about you,
Yes.
about the leader of a student who was now sleeping at in protest,
Yes. Strangely enough, even ZNBC then was covering me.
Yeah.
Probably it was a more flexible system than what we have now.
Yeah.
So they covered me. I was making front page, so the police had to say, no, get out of here. They took me back to the university. So that being curtailed, I knew that I needed to do something more forceful. And then I decided to have a walk on foot with a placard clothed around me to come to Lusaka to bring a petition to the president that they should not remove bursary scheme. On day one, I walked. People were laughing. And I remember one of my colleagues now was in government in the Ministry of Mulusa. Said, tell that boy to stop walking, beaten by a lion. You know. I started walking the one, the two. The two, I reached lunch at 10 off. Those who knock a flafuta that side. I moved, I walked. I was sleeping where the night finds me because I was all over known. People, buses could honk, they could stop. People could buy me food. So I was sufficiently replenished.
Wow.
My mother had given me a phone, that's a small Bali phone.
Yes.
I had that, and it was not losing charge.
Those would go for 6 days.
6 days, yes.
Yeah.
And I was walking on foot step by step. I was kept at a farm block for the night by Pastor Jera. I still remember his name. When I become president, I would do something for him. So he took care of me in the orphanage. He fed me in the morning. He even asked his son to help me carry the bag. And he had his son. The son carried the bag for me for more than 20 kilometers.
Wow.
Imagine. Wow. But he helped me eat my food.
Were you walking or you were cycling?
Walking.
You were walking.
You walk from 05. I was even videotaping myself.
Okay.
From 05, you stop around 21. I slept on the third day at a market known as Nyenyezi.
Near Kapiri.
Yes, near Kapiri. Nyenyezi, yes. Near Nsobe also.
Yes,
Nyenyezi. When I arrived there, it was around 21. I found the market. There were still people there. I asked, they were sleeping in makeshift. They allowed me to sleep there. Now I was surprised, as it was even people were drinking some brew that was looking like mukolo but thick. Yeah. Everybody was drinking it. Now me, I don't drink, so I refrained. They begged me, drink it. But they didn't tell me the reason why they were drinking it. So I refrained, I slept. Around 03, I woke up. Everybody was sleeping. I woke up. I had to go and beg some women to help me stay near the fire. Because those people are drinking that thing, it keeps them warm in the night. Me, I didn't know.
Oh, I see.
Because it really gets cold there. There's a stream.
Yes.
There's a stream, Sobe stream or something like that. Yes. It taught me now when you go to a place, ask how they spend the night.
When you're in Rome, do what Romans
I wish I drank that thing. But I survived. I had to sit by the brazier until morning. Again, I continued walking. There was agitation. Many people were getting in the voice, speaking. As long as I was on the road, I knew the fire was getting stronger.
Yeah.
More people, international organizations were joining the cry, how do you remove bursary? I remember on the 5th day, I received a phone call. It came from the late Emmanuel Mwamba. He was the Dean of Students for Kapwepwe University. Kasonde, stop walking.
Yeah.
I said, how? No, the president has reversed. He has given back everybody 100%. All those who applied have given the bursary. Stop.
Yeah.
I had reached Kapiri now. I was passing Kapiri now, coming to Lusaka. Coincidentally, on that day, my father had also called that he started off also coming to pick me.
To come and stop you or join you?
No, my father respects me. Even when I was going into union presidency, I asked him, I want to be a unionist. He said, go ahead.
Okay.
So I had the blessing. And even when I was working, I was regularly on phone. My mother would ask me, Manawango, how are you? How are you doing? I'm standing with you. My mother supported me. May I so rest in peace.
Yeah.
And then she gave me my name, Kasonde.
Yes.
So she was so close to me. So I was not doing it in defiance to my parents. No. They knew what I was doing and they trusted me. So I walked. And on that 5th day, hell broke loose. Even government sent an instruction, said, tell him to stop walking. It's causing unnecessary agitation. And tell him the president wants to see you. Come to Lusaka.
Yeah.
Stop. Luckily that afternoon, my father also intercepted on the road. I was a government official then. It was some Debs in the north there.
Yeah, your father was a,
Took me on his car, and we drove to Lusaka. By then, UNZA had also mobilized that, no, we want to meet the Kapwepwe University Students' Union president. So they also started coming. So it was causing too much agitation. So when we came to Lusaka, I went to thank the UNZA guys and everybody. And when I reached Lusaka, everything changed.
Yeah.
The government that had been nice to me when they were on the road. I remember I went to government motel there, and the one at Long Acres. I don't know
Yes,
what is that
Long Acres Lodge.
Long Acres Lodge, yes. There was even a conference. I remember the PS, I remember his name. When he saw me, he said, you were looking so huge on the road. So you're just a small boy. You want to even see the president go away. They chased me.
Yeah.
I didn't even see the president. But I was happy. My job was not to see the president. My
Yeah.
job was to have the scholarships support reinstated. And it had been reinstated. My legs were swollen.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
night, I spent my night with my father. There's a lodge behind East Parkmore. Bathed and I ate. And the UNZA students fundraised money for me to get a bus
Back to Kitwe.
But I heard stories. No,
Yeah.
Kasonde, when he came to Lusaka,
He was funded, he was with the opposition.
Yes, the president gave me a bus, so I don't know what I was given.
Yeah.
But the government treated me harshly when I came here.
When you
because
arrived.
They thought I'd embarrassed them. And from that moment, we had engraved on the hearts of the people that wherever we want to go, our feet would take us
Take
there.
us there.
For the first time, our feet had taken us to
Where did
claim
the
it.
inspiration come from? Where did you pick that phrase?
Wherever we want to go, our feet will take us there has been a mantra that I have always, for a long time, I think as early as my first year at university, I'd been using to motivate myself to say, no, when everything around you fails, look within you. When God makes you, he put all that in you needed to put. He already put it in you. So wherever you want to go, you already have the feet. Just go. Yeah.
You don't have to wait for transport money.
No.
You don't have to wait for everything to be ready.
We were born with transport money in the feet. Even our country, as we believe, we already have what it takes. We already have the minerals. We already have the brains. We already have it. Look at your brains like you, if we put it just to the right use. I mean, we already, wherever I want to go, our feet. Not that wherever I want to go, 60 years of independence,
Yeah.
It is inherent in us.
Oh, wonderful. You are an architect, you are a lawyer. Tell us your journey. Why did you choose the path of politics?
It's the definition that calls it politics. I just love to serve. And I'm insanely engraved in this thing. I wake up in the morning just looking for what I can do for the bigger humanity. I know people say politicians are the same, people are the same. No. The way we're different on the faces, that's how we're different. Even now we are wired inside. Probably those who are clever win these things and happen, who have got a certain trait. But there are also people who are just savers. I've not just been a leader in the political circles. When I was at university, I was the leader for the Christian community.
Before you became leader for Kapwepwe students?
Yes, actually I was sponsored to become union leader. The people who voted for me, I must, we are the Christian society, wanted to have a leader who's a Christian. I was the missions director for UCZ Christian Fellowship. I was also the Bible study secretary for ZAFES. I was in all of them, you know. Yeah, so I had that background. I just love to serve. I love to work, and I give it my all. I give it my all. And I enjoy it. I don't even need payment.
Why did you join MMD, PF, UPND? Why did you decide to create your own vehicle?
I feel every generation is born with a mandate. And I respect other people's mandates. I don't think my mandate is bigger than others. So if you respect others, let them be. Pursue what you want with respect for other people. The one who made UPND probably had his own agenda. I don't know what was agenda. Michael Sata had his own agenda, more money in the pockets. I remember him so well. You know, I wrote his biography, the official, and Passion Indelible. So I understand what kind of a person he was. And for me, I'm obsessed with seasons and times. And I believe we, the generation that was born in hardships, poverty hardships, I was born in the transition from the freedom fighters to the new generation. As we were born in the AIDS time, when parents were dying, very few people of my age have their parents pour for them. People are dying of AIDS. So we are transitioning from Kaunda. I was born at the transition. I was born in Kaunda's time. Transitioning from Kaunda to Chiruba. I was born around that time. And people were dying. As we found things hard, we were born in hardships. We never enjoyed those things. They were saying, no,
Free education,
upeza matraki, Maifa, akupeleka kwe national service, if you consider this national, no. We were born at that moment when coupons had come, and then Chiruba came in, and then the hunger came in. We were just born at the peak of age. We were born in death. So we are wired in a certain way. We don't like the hardships. We hate poverty. It's different from these who are born now. But as we were born there in hardships, we want just to break through. We just want to break loose. So I believe we don't want to disable the people's agenda. We want to deliver economic emancipation. We just want to be economically free. Our forefathers delivered political independence they gave us. We respect them. I don't know what others are pursuing, but us, we just want to have a Zambia that will have ownership. Economic independence is premised on ownership. Even the Bible says, drink from your own system. Water can be nice from Ayavene, but your water is different. That's why everybody, when I was getting married, my grandfather told me, he said, my son, I said, yes, I keshwa kanyelele. Do you know that that ant looks small, but there's something that it is clever than a person? I said, what it is? He said, an ant always remembers to go back to its home. It doesn't sleep in the trees. No. It goes back. When it's late, it goes back to its own place. I said, oh, okay. So I've learned for us as a people, especially as Zambians, we need to have our own things. Our minds, those are for us. When I become president, KCM will be ours. Mopani will be, if you go governor, Uko will renegotiate those things from Findeco House. Yeah. Not from anyone. So I believe for us to economically emancipate, we need to have ownership, not yet to be able to change your tax. We want to have ownership. Saudi Arabia, they have ownership of their oil. I want us to have ownership. That's the only way. So I believe instead of PF, no, I believe maybe in liberal economies, or UPND, I believe help us, IMF. I don't want to waste that time. We want to make drink water from our system. And we started to decide economic freedom fighters so that we can have economic freedom.
Was it inspired by Julius Malema's EFF?
I give him respect. He's a Pan-Africanist. All these, I give him kudos because Pan-Africanism was more taken as a philosophy, as an ideology, saying Pan-Africanist. But the South African guys, they realize that we are no longer dealing in a system where intellectuals in the boardrooms, in the classrooms at universities are churning out philosophies and governing. You govern when you're in the political arena. That's where policies are made. So they transition from just being Pan-Africanists, Bamba Book, to become political party Pan-Africanists, politician Pan-Africanists. Because that's the only way you rule now in our modern times. So we are inspired by them. They moved Pan-Africanism into politics.
From the books.
From the books. Perfect. They moved it from the books into the political arena. Yes. So we share that, and we are brothers. We are not a tributary or an extension. We are brothers vis-a-vis. Yeah. If I may use the street language, we are brothers vis-a-vis. And our feet will take us there. We will bring it home.
Wonderful. You are an author, a published author. Speak to some of the books you've written and what inspires you to write.
Thank you. I love to read. Of course, every politician loves to read, even on Facebook. Anyway else, even my older brother, Protwan, says he loves to read on Facebook. I believe when you read, you also have to give out something to read.
Yeah.
And I realize that if there's a part that is poorly documented, is our Zambian material.
Yeah.
Maybe we are coming from a background, what I learned in intellectual property law is that we believed in folklore, we're telling stories, we are good at stories, but maybe we are becoming too busy, we are not spending time with our children, so we are not telling them stories. And as a result, our heritage, our intellectual property is dying, it's losing in detail. Our children know more about Martin Luther King. They don't know much about our own here, They don't know about Kapwepwe. They don't know about these people, but these people worked for them. So I believe I have a task, we have a duty, which we all can't escape, to document in one way or the other the material of our times so that we are able to pass a heritage of their
Which one was your first book?
I did a book known as Streams in the Desert. I did when I was at campus, and the university published it.
Okay.
It was one for poems. I loved poetry when I was
Yes.
Yeah, I did one, and then most notable ones that I did Passion Indelible. That's a biography for the Michael Sata, his life, how he fought, how he grew up. How
Did you speak to him? Did you use public material? Did you interview people? How did you write that one? Passion Indelible.
In 2007, I left the university.
Yeah.
Yes. My friends are in class. I left university, that's Kitwe, and came to Lusaka to come and meet Michael Sata. I met him at farmer's house.
Yeah.
I even had the notes. What do you believe about tribalism? He looked at me and answered me bluntly. In 2007, there is no tribalism in Zambia. I'd worked 4 days to meet him.
Yeah.
I was going to his office every day. He was avoiding me. I would wait the whole day. I left my friends learning at university. Today, I don't meet him. Now, Michael, he would pass. He would see me at the reception. Then one day, he just told them, Kevin Kengire. I entered his office. I was intimidated because at his table here, I found a big cobra.
Yes.
Literally made out of clay or cement.
Yeah.
A big cobra standing like this. And he's sitting here. May he so rest in peace.
Yeah.
I was just a student union leader who had gone. I had started writing that book in 2007.
Okay.
And then he started and said, what are your questions? The interview that I'd come for took 15 minutes. Yes. And he told me, do you know who's this one seated here? I don't know. Then there was this gentleman who was slim. I said, this is Professor Mulenga of UNZA. This man knows everything about education. And he started telling me. He answered all my questions. I had no time to write. I just had to write in my head.
Yeah.
That was Michael talking. He finished my interview. And from there, I just had to get on a bus and go back to Kitwe. That's how I started Passion. Even when he died, unfortunately, I had to see the family, get permission. And I was writing the book with my brother, Upalo Sata. And I had to interview every member of family that had access to our mother in Kablonga, the first wife. I spent a good lot of time with her. She blessed us with a lot of information. I extended her the beautiful moment with Madame Kaseva. She would narrate the story and she could cry. I was exposed to a lot of things that I couldn't even put in the book because they were pouring out, they were mourning. I wrote the book right after he had died, so the wounds were fresh. I interviewed members of his family. Of course, I read quite widely also about his history and just to bring up a material that is out there for the family.
You wrote one about Hakainde Hichilema, President Hakainde Hichilema.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yes, that one is strictly out of interviews and research. Yeah, he was.
Why did you call it The Economist?
It was a word that was being tweeted around him, and I needed to have a salacious title. That's what they were calling him. I mean, he had convinced the world he's an economist of reckon. So we gave it to him, and we patched up the pieces and told a story of hope. You know, when we are documenting, when you read my material, it's not even entirely about Hakainde Hichilema. It's about us.
Yeah.
It's about the commonalities. So when you tell a story about a person, it's not about the person, it's about their era, their time. We had an opportunity to document a lot of things around that time. That's where I knew about the George Sokotos. Those are highly detailed, the intellectuals of their times. What happened to Zambia? So we are telling about Zambia through the lens of one Hakainde Hichilema, because that's the person people knew at that particular moment. So we are able to use figures, people, to tell a story of time, not entirely just about that person. No. And I refused to meet President Hakainde Hichilema when I was writing his book.
Why?
Why?
That's
I didn't want it
your
to
subject.
be. Yes, I didn't want it to be one that is doctored through his lens. People look at him probably say he's a rich guy. They think you want money. Even him probably was thinking when this guy writes my book, I never asked for a single coin. And I worked through his lawyer then, Martha Mishipe. I used to go at her office and I even did a draft and gave it to Counsel Martha Mishipe and said, take it to the president. If he has got objections in what I've put in this book, he believes I've told a lie or said something, let him give me feedback within a month. I gave them a month. Well, they never came back. I never wanted. I think the next head is that I had published.
Yeah.
And they blocked me heavily.
They tried to block the book
I was hounded out of Manda Hill.
when you were launching it.
When I was launching it, my posters put down. It was the first time that my launch was curtailed when I launched the Hakainde Hichilema book. Yeah.
Who attacked you?
I'd actually booked off.
Which period was this?
2017.
Mm-hmm.
2017 book. Yes.
Oh, so maybe because you wrote the book of Michael Sata, they feared you'd write the book of Hakainde Hichilema to disparage him?
In bad light. No, that book is one of the most warm books that probably would ever be written about President Hakainde Hichilema, especially with the skirmishes of his now incumbency. It dilutes the good story we told about him.
That is an economist.
Some of us, with all due respect, for lack of better terms, we created what we have in that state house to a large extent, and we should take responsibility. Yes, we created the persona.
In fact, I've had a lot of guests here that supported President Hakainde Hichilema deeply. They supported him in their work, in their public statements. They underlined forces around him, and when they express regret, it's exactly what you are saying, that it's like the man they believed in is totally different from the man that is reigning.
I wrote another book about the late president, first president, Kenneth Kaunda. It's known as You're
a publisher of 9 books.
I've done his authorized biography.
Okay.
Yeah, Viva Pere, Ordinary Legend. That's the title, Ordinary Legend, Viva Pere. You know, when I wrote that book, I sat with Kaunda before he died, and he guided me through his stories, through his lenses. We talked. I sat at his feet and wrote that book. And when I wrote it, he was so humble. He wrote and said, you know, I'm so thankful that you have written about me. You know, the statue of Kaunda kept saying, you have written about me. And he laughed at me and saying, the first day he saw me, he said, hey, you remind me of somebody. Then he put back and said, you've got nice teeth. Maybe he thought I would be offended. He said, you've got nice teeth. Of course, I know my teeth are everywhere. So he was so humble that I wrote the book about him. I was so thankful. He wrote it down. I still have it. I wish I'd come with the book. I would have shown you. He was so humble.
I believe you.
But the difference with Hakainde Hichilema is, even when I wrote about him, fought for him, he never even said, thank you, thank you for writing about me.
He never acknowledged.
People around him thought maybe want to eat off him, rip off. Hey, we've written about KK. We've written about Michael Sata. We've written so many books. They fought us for writing a good story about them. But in that book, there's nothing bad.
It's a good book.
Nothing. We were actually helping him. But he never even said thank you. Last time I saw it was a team from UK that came asking that they want to turn it into a movie. So how do we agree? I said, no, the book is on the shelf. Go and buy and do whatever you want to make out of it.
You gave them rights.
I gave them the rights. I don't want to be part of it. I didn't do this. Even now, some people, I don't know if you let the cat out. There are people who are hoping to also let one of the books now become a movie. Maybe I don't have the right to disclose. But there's another big movie coming on one of the former heads of state.
Okay. Wonderful. No, like KK said, you remind him of a resemblance. I think I've told you several times that you are like a spit image of Kapwepwe, our forefather, the manner, the way you look. You are like him. And probably KK was not the first one to mention it. I probably am not the first one to mention it. Do you know where the resemblance comes from? Do you deliberately want to look like, Simon Kapwepwe? Does he inspire you? Or the resemblance is just remarkable?
The good thing about being a person is that you never get a chance to be another person and see yourself through the eye
in that light. Yeah.
Trust me, I look like my father. The way you see me, I'm a split image of my father, Mr. Mwenda. He's still alive.
Yes.
Of course, it's light, very light.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Mwenda looks like Simon Kapwepwe.
I don't know. That part I don't know. At home when we were growing up, when I was growing up, my father would warn me. I know my brothers and sisters are listening.
Yeah.
They would want me and say, my father would want me and say, Iwe, kafwade bwino. Iwe know anyone passing, but
Yeah.
so it was very easy when I'm dating for people to know this is Mr. Mwanda. My father is extremely smart, like even physically, and he's a smart guy. I don't
so the resemblance is so remarkable with your father that he didn't want you to shame you. I mean, he didn't want you to shame him because people recognize that you are.
So now I've heard so many things. Maybe it's an opportunity to talk about it.
Yes.
I've heard so many things. People have said, no, maybe your mother just never told you the truth. You could be Kapwepwe's son. No, it's not possible.
Yeah, of course. The Iran period is totally different.
The area, thank you. The Iran period doesn't allow. I think he died before I was born.
Yeah, true.
So it's not possible for a dead man to have a son.
No, but
no, just for clarity's sake, that my mother is innocent about it. May her soul rest in peace.
But does Simon Kapwepwe inspire you? Have you read any of his books?
I've eaten his books, not just read them.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, we are what we eat.
Yeah.
Yes, I've eaten his books. And it's not the only one. I've read about all of them. They have inspired us. To single out Kapwepwe as the one who inspired me, maybe I would be pushing the narrative a bit out of context. It wouldn't be very true. But I love his ferocity, his strength, his passion. Yeah, I love those things. And his Pan-Africanist agenda and his selflessness. He was a very strong figure. When you read history, you find out, with all due respect, he was a stronger figure than even Bakaunda.
Yeah.
But probably he was too militant for his time. Maybe he needed to be that militant for us to have development, for us to have political independence. Maybe we need some more militants even this time. So I've never paid attention to becoming like him. I don't even know I've become like him. But it's not a loss.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Even if they say I look like Mushala, it will still not be a loss.
Wonderful. The state of our country, I think, is deeply worrying, especially to young people. You speak, your core audience is young people, because you speak the future, the current, but essentially trying to deliver a message for young people. We are now 60 years. What have we done right? What have we done wrong? What could we have done better? And this question, I refer to your reflection on our 7 presidents. So let's start with Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, our founding president. What are your reflections about him? What did he do right? What could he have done better?
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I've actually had an opportunity to write on those subjects. And when we see the first republic that we had when President Akainde...
President Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda.
When he took to the helms and he became president, you notice we were writing on a clear canvas. And then when one was drawn on a clear canvas, sometimes you spend the most time because you don't even know where to start from. It's a white canvas, you know? So those...
He had a blank slate.
Blank slate.
Yeah.
So he had a task that will never be surpassed. It was so huge, daunting. He had so little tools to work with. And then at that moment, we had only 157 nurses in the country, 100 nurses. We had native African Zambian doctors. We had 9 doctors at that moment, like Zambian native doctors. Of course, professional, not our respected traditional doctors, but I mean our conventional doctors. He had very few tools. I remember some of the things that happened to them is that when they chased our colleagues, they left systems, they left computers, and there was no people to even operate them. He had daunting tasks. When they split under the UDA with our Southern Rhodesia, our friends in Zimbabwe, and Aaron Smith decided to cut off Zambia, for instance. And that is where we were getting our core, to process our copper and run our machines there. And that was where we were getting everything. We had those moments where the economy of Zambia would come to a standstill at Mpa. Mpang economy yafa. They had to go and prospect for coal. Nakandabo, they had to go look for coal and open and make functional. In 3 months, a coal mine. By 6 months, it's operational. You are back to business. They had to build roads, the Great North Road, this road, they had to make it as an export route. They used to make tarred roads that, apatule ba tusaka dollar dual carriage, they had to make such a road. At that time, with their meager technology, they had to do those within a year, 2 years and a half. They had to do that because Kwadama Heoran, when a car goes, it will take 3 months to reach. They had to make roads cutting and fighting with lions and snakes. They had to cut through the virgin terrain. It was tough. So the kind of problems they had were difficult. But if you see how they delivered, let me give an example. In 1972, the copper production was at 800,000 metric tons with their technology then. This year, if I may quote my brother Mlenga Chipoka, last year we produced 600,000 metric tons. So in 1972, they beat us by 200,000 metric tons. 1972 with Bakaunda Kashana Bafumshan. And then now, you see how far we have fallen. So if you ask me about where we started, I think we had the best presidency. With all those mistakes we needed to, they were inevitable. We needed to try the IMF. We needed to try these things don't work. Kaunda actually had to tell them when we started doing our strategy to build from within ourselves, and he had to tell the IMF, get out of here. Those were his words. Get out of here. Leave my Zambia. So we had tried those things. And a person who's a problem is one who doesn't learn. Kaunda was supposed to try all the things. Just like in a family, a firstborn, forgive firstborns when they don't become very successful. Probably they would have tried to tuwalwa, kafwaka. You know, I don't drink for a simple reason. Because I saw my brother. He took early to eat. And my mother could cry when my brother came back drunk. You know? And I didn't just want to make my mother cry. And that was a reason. So the guy took my sins. You see what I mean? But if I was firstborn, I wouldn't have seen a mother cry. So probably I would have been there. So those who go first, let's forgive them. They are first timers, they are learning. Yes, they are pathfinders. They are going in enchanted waters. So with all due respect, they thought maybe the way to unite Zambia was to bring one party state. You know, if you look at what it was premised on, of course it degraded our democracy. That's what we have learned in hindsight when we look back and say, oh, yeah, that was a misstep. We should have allowed multipartism. But according to them, with Yamingarato for their time, probably they thought maybe that was good. But for us, what would be wrong is for us to repeat those mistakes. We create multi-party state here. Either de jure or de facto. It's incomprehensible. When we start doing media censoring, you know, censorship, we are citizens. No, we can't go back there. It was okay they went there, they were teaching us what not to do and what to do. Then in came our comrade, FTJ. He tried to liberalize. Your main man.
My greatest inspiration.
I think there's no one who's going to surpass his resolve. I had an opportunity to take a long ride for more than 8 hours with one of the people that were very close to him. His first press aid. And I learned about him, how one day when he was coming from Tanzania, you know, his life became so unbearable, you know these stories, and started to go and try his luck in Tanzania and work for a Saiso, for a Saiso company that told him he's going to make money there. And hell, he found there that it was hell. He became so broke, you know, he had to start off on foot, and he jumped on a truck without paying, and he hid on a tent. And midway they discovered him that Palimuntu patent, and they left him for dead. He walked, he couldn't reach, and he gave up and decided to say, okay, I think I've failed life. And he went and lay in the middle of the road, FTJ. Before he became president, of course. He lay in the middle of the road, waiting 50s. For a lion or a warthog or whatever to eat
come
him.
And eat him.
Or better, a car to come and run over him. And true to his expectation, a car comes. It almost runs off him, but as a white man, he stops and says, it's in the middle of nowhere, and the animals, what are you doing? No, I want to die. That's Emmanuel later became a president. He said, I want to die. He's taken on board, and they learn about what he has been through. He said he had tried in Zambia, failed, gone to Tanzania for a side, so he failed. And I think he said that just few and just need to die. I failed. He was encouraged. He picked his pieces. To cut a long story short, he became our Republican president.
Our second president, yes.
Yes. So we see FTJ also trying to say, okay, Kaunda failed here. Maybe let's liberalize our economy. Let's open it up to what? Let's sell. He works with, or even the incumbent. Let's sell. Let's kill our industries. Maybe we need to be part of this global system. We were tricked.
Yeah.
We lost our foothold. We are what we are now because of those mistakes we made.
I've always argued that the liberalization policy probably was good. It set this foundation. But the privatization program, and we should remember it was not the Zambian government program. It was an IMF program. They had started it with Kaunda. When there was a new government, they imposed it on the new government with a new euphoria. And the government accelerated the privatization program. And not only in Zambia, mostly across Africa. These countries were left deindustrialized. Yeah. They were left to rely on global partners and themselves. We lost our self-sufficiency. Yeah. And when you look at the literature, the IMF, they have a habit of saying we have changed. We are not the IMF of the past. Yes. I always say they should apologize. You can't use words like that we're not the IMF of the past. Yes. But you caused us to be where we are. And in fact, when we come to the debt restructure, there's another role they played. Yes. They played that role where they said, you are middle-income country, low and middle-income country now. In 2010, Zambia became under Rupiah Banda. And they said, you are no longer eligible to get our loans. Our loans are zero rated. They are concessional loans, no interest to be paid on them, maybe 0.01%. You are now a low middle income country. We are sending you to the market. We went to Eurobond, to open markets, to borrow from whoever we wish to borrow because of that IMF decision in 2010. We'll come to that. You've done, Dr. Chiluba, you set the record. President Mwanawasa.
Yeah, and then I knew when I come to FTJ, I knew you.
No, it's a neutral subject.
You are the expert in that field.
No, not at all. No. You know the experience with presidents and you with leaders. Let's take a figure out of Zambia, Nelson Mandela. Whoever has met Nelson Mandela will say a story about him. Sometimes the other person who even lived with Mandela will learn. The leaders are like that. They have wide array of experiences. They meet people differently. So it's like an elephant. Some will touch the ear and they'll say the leader is flappy and wide. Some will touch the trunk. They will say he's stiff and stock and straight. Yes. Others will touch the foot. So leaders are like that. Yes. It's difficult to summarize them in a compartment.
Yes. Yeah. Now, actually, that's why I'm saying you have a close relation with him. And I knew when I brought this subject, I knew it was familiar what is for you.
Yeah,
but
true.
FTJ taught us something. He taught us that dreams are possible. Yeah. Even us having a president like President Hakainde Hichilema, it is from that foundation when we had an FTJ rise from the doldrums of those stories of being a unionist to become a president. And people ask me, by EFF, manje mulibe na councillor na MP, mzankala bwanji ba president. I laughed and say, that question has already been answered. Yeah. FTJ became president without a single councillor, without a single MP. Just barely a few months after formation of MMD, they were able to win. He showed us that Zambia are versatile. They are able to change and take shape according to times. Now, by 2026, they can just take a different shape, and we can see it coming. So, Tebaku Delavena Zambia, they can never be compartmented. With all due respect, they took a different shape against PF last time. Yeah. It was the most organized party, power of incumbency. But Zambians took a different shape. I bet all the other things we can talk about, but they took that shape. Generally, I think we can agree they took a different shape, and they put President Hakainde Hichilema there. Of course, there are arguments in it, in the detail, but all we can. So Zambians are fluid, and we owe it to President FTJ He taught Zambians fluidity. He gave Zambians hope. Then came the Chibumba,
Levi Patrick Mwanawasa.
Yeah. If you see some of our styles right now of offering checks and balances, he showed how to make checks and balances to stand against some activities that are perpetuated by the system. In his system, he was able to leverage on the courts. Then, our men and women in the chambers were completely allergic to, not completely, but sufficiently allergic to exploitation. I don't know whether they follow we know, or it was just their culture.
Members of Parliament in the National Assembly.
I mean the judges.
Oh, the judges. Oh, the judiciary.
You see, I'm a student of law, I'm a lawyer. When you see the judgments that were being passed then, we rely on them for precedence. That's how impeccable they are. Not a jokes, a ruling, we can't even use them.
Yeah, yeah.
We can't use them.
I've always said 40 years ago, the son of the president, sitting president, has been accused of committing murder, that he has shot his girlfriend. He was arrested. Do you see a police that can arrest the president, the son of the president?
Calling people Lucifer. Yeah. You failed to arrest the poor man. You even have the audio, not that hearsay. You even have the evidence.
Yeah. You have the son of the president not only arrested, DPP authorizes.
Yes.
The murder charge is not bailable. He is kept in prison. It goes to court.
Yes.
A judge sentenced the son of the president to death.
Yes.
When I look back, and this was 40 years ago,
yes,
I said, where have we gone wrong?
Yes.
We had under what we thought were a dictatorship, under what we thought a very strong man in Dr. Kaunda, those things take place. Institution, because Dr. Kaunda could have just picked a phone call and the story would have disappeared.
Would have disappeared.
But no, it didn't disappear.
Yes.
They had an Inspector General of Police who said, sir, the rule of law precedes your rule as a man. Yes. You are the DPP who recognizes the son of the president, but a life has been lost.
Yes.
And the president's son has been implicated.
Yes.
You are the judge who looked at the merit of the case and sentenced the son of the president to death.
Yes. Now, where we have reached, so we had the people like Mwanawasa.
Yeah.
They operated in that environment where there was integrity, even in our judiciary. They could pass, so you could check the government. This time, even when you go before a judge, you don't even know where to go. Whether your evidence is strong or weak, you don't know, because you are at the whims.
There's nothing about the law.
Yes, it's about the whims of whose interests they are serving. I'm praying we get back to sanity. So we had people do politics based on those premises. They were able to use the courts to even check. And Mwanawasa brought that in. He even sold the agenda of being against corruption to Zambians. He taught us the word corruption. However way he did it, of course it was haphazard. In some areas it was quite vindictive. In hindsight, now we look. But all in all, he sensitized us about it. So we should be getting finer, better, because we are learning. From him, I don't think people have got what to point and say, Mwanawasa stole this, or Mwanawasa abused this. No, him he could fire you, even if you are his neighbor. He fired so many around him. Once they were just found wanting, he will suspend them instantly. You don't have to wait for a person who's found with incriminating for them to retire, or you just shield them. It never used to happen. So we have had men who had principles, like Mwanawasa.
Rupia Banda, you are running errands with his presidency and for the good of the students.
Yes.
But what's your reflections?
He had a very short term.
3 years.
Yes. He spent most of it as vice president. He was in obscurity. We never saw much of him. When he was president, I think he had his ways. He was a unifier, But again, he did not have a firm hand. He was, he maybe he never had enough time for him to leave his own real footprint. So we have to judge him for things that are outside presidency, or we end up being very critical because his time was really short, but we will judge him nonetheless. He failed to inspire the country to where he would have, because he had experiences like you in foreign service and being an ambassador. He should have been the guy who came and clinched deals, taught us how to interact with the outside world, and just reformed Zambia. He didn't do that too well, and with all due respect, we don't judge the dead so harshly. He was a nice guy as himself. He is not one that you can hold personal grudges against. He expelled me, but I can laugh about it, you know? He's a guy who would expel you and you laugh about it. He didn't have personal hate. You could not, and things that are bad used to shock him also. For instance, when a person dies, Arupia Banda would be visibly broken. When some tribal fights happen, you could see him, you would see him, he was a human, as a moon too. You know? He was not like me. Maybe that's what even made him not to have so much a footprint, because maybe he allowed too much space for people to do whatever they wanted.
Michael Sata, who you wrote about, we know your thoughts and summaries are in the book.
King Cobra.
Yes.
King Cobra started the wheels in motion when he told Rabobank, when he told Lap Green of Libya, say, this bank you have taken, Zanako, when I come, I'll get it back. You have taken it illegally. He meant his word. Just like I'm saying right now, mark my word. When EFF comes into power, I don't care when. It could be 2026, 2031, 20. I'm quite there. I'm not going anywhere. KCM is coming back. Mopani is coming back. Those are just bad examples. We have got sufficient laws. The Land Acquisition Act is sufficient. It allows for expropriation with compensation. And then, if you want to take them elsewhere, we can have the money here. We'll get back. There's expropriation. We'll work with the whole principle. We know that system. They not even make it. No. No. There's a legal process. No, complicated. It's just that people are coming to the table already complicated. Come people come entangled. But if you come clean with clean hands, you don't even need gloves. Just come with clean hands. No to let agenda. You have got agenda yaba America, you have got agenda yaba Britain, agenda yaba France. So many agenda. What about your agenda? The agenda for Zambia, where is it? So I'm praying I remain this clean slate. So if we are sent to power like this, we'll be like Michael. We'll turn back a lot of things. Yeah. Of course, he got sick. You know, he did something. He never tolerated people do funny things. I remember one of his closest cabinet ministers, I got this information from Bakaseva, was fired after it leaked out that he had pushed for an SI to allow for some merchandise to enter Zambia. He learned about it from Congo. He fired him, and that person was very close to him. Closer than Kakobo to HH. Closer than that. Yeah. I mean, close enough. Yeah, people who are close, blood close, fired instantly. That is Michael. And Michael had one quality I was discussing with my SG Changara yesterday. You know, when he realizes wrong, he could rectify the wrongs. Twaliambira kubaseka ati baleti nga balande eki bafunye SI fyalubana, he withdraws it. He made so many mistakes in his first 2 years. This SI would come, it would have adverse effect, he would bring it back. He would say this thing, Yaluka, he would go it back.
He was, I've never seen a man like that. Although people would see a vicious outlook, his humility at the core was a wonderful quality he had. Let me give you an example. In his first day in office, when he's nominating members of parliament, the law was that you nominate 10.
Yes.
But an amendment was done. And I think he was not aware that the nomination of 10 MPs was reduced to 8. And he nominated 10. And quickly, when the information was carried out on the news, all of us began to comment about it and said, no, the president can only nominate 8. He was not arrogant.
Yes.
He immediately withdrew. Apologized to the 2, Samuel Mukupa and our dear brother, I'll remember his name, were withdrawn.
Yes.
And so that he could fit with what the law provided, 8.
Yes. That's powerful. Mistakes will be made.
Yeah.
Zambians are not even asking for a leader who can't make a mistake, because I will make mistakes. You will make mistakes. We all will make mistakes.
Yeah.
But when you make mistakes, people tell you this is wrong. Don't lie. Don't manipulate. Don't mingalato. Just own up. That's what men do. All of us who are married men ask our wives. They will tell us our work control. If you don't, oh my wife, if you look, she's even the one encouraging you because you are honest. Not that just to impress. No, be honest. Tell them. I think that's one thing we learned about Michael Sata.
Yeah,
he was not shy.
Edgar Lungu. So that we come to Hakainde Lemanda 1 now to reflect on the public policies that you've been commenting about.
ECL.
Yeah.
ECL comes with a background of people. It's very difficult for me to talk about ECL.
Yeah. Why?
He was one of the closest friends to my father.
Wow.
They grew up together. And I didn't know.
In Kitwe.
I kept biting the PF. And my father never told me.
Okay.
That they were actually schoolmates, both in Kitwe at Unza.
Wow.
Yes, they grew up literally together from the same hood.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, your father I love your father. He's a liberal mind.
Yes.
He recognizes, he's raised you, and he lets you free to make your opinions, and he's safe with whatever you decide.
Yes.
Because he knows he's done his job.
Yes. But I got to do my job here.
Yeah.
Waidi Galungu had an opportunity. The ground was laid for him. And the ground was for him to take over from where Michael Chilufya-Sata had pulled. Michael Chilufya-Sata had promised Zambia more money in your pockets. He had promised them, bringing it to them. He had brought them, saying, okay, the MMD had gone so much liberal. Maybe we need to have protectionist policies that are Zambia-centric. Let's come back to Zambia. That was what Michael brought. In came by Edgar Lungu. I think he took too long to assert his foot, to continue and correct strongly, like having a firm hand. He gave us some legislations that are commendable. He signed the Constitution when all of us never thought he would sign that thing, which actually cost him his presidency.
Yeah, true. The signing of the Constitution that had been pending,
yes,
I think since 1996 when we had a major amendment, and there have been attempts and failures, especially the 2010 failed. But the 2016 one was a wonder. I think
yes,
President Edgar Lungu was quite brave to actually have signed that document.
Yes. Suffice to say, we had a country that at one point, especially towards the end, that did not have his firm hand. People say, no, the issue of cadarism is exaggerated. No, it's not exaggerated. What happened is that, no, unless those who were in political circles, no. People became chairman na mkomboni, baja chairman wa makomboni baja. Sunga bagwire, you can't touch them. They became stronger than even headmen. Those who belonged to the PF became too strong by virtue of just belonging. Maybe the president, as you educated me earlier before this program, maybe the bubble around him shielded him from knowing that you have to restrain party functionaries. People need to be free, but they had a hand. That went out of hand. And I think that is one dent on the face of his presidency that cost him power. And it cost the country an opportunity to make progress. It made Zambians desperate.
Oh, good. Let me come to President Hakainde Hichilema. You've been very critical of him. You've written a book about him. And by the way, the two MPs that were withdrawn had referred to Honorable Samuel Mukupka Ngonga, that Michael Sata withdrew. Willie Nsanda was the other one. He had nominated Willie Nsanda. So among the 10, those two were withdrawn. President Hakainde Hichilema comes on the euphoria of this election, and like you're saying, the PF have made some mistakes, like the issue of cadarism. President Hakainde Hichilema, what's your reflection?
People say I'm too hard. Of course I have to be too hard on him. No, why weren't you hard on Kaunda, on Chiruba? Like, I was not born forever, eh? I was at school at most of those times. I was working as an architect running a firm. I was not just born in politics. So they should forgive me that I did not criticize Kaunda. I was just a boy. Levi Mwana, I was still too young. I was not even in politics. Michael Sata, I was still young. I was just in university. Edgar Lungu, we registered EFF in 2020. 2020. Manje wezofuna nikazirwisha as what? You know what I mean? In 2016, I stood as an independent, Lusaka Central.
Yeah.
I got third. I was beaten by PF and UPND, by those two ladies, Madame Scott and
Margaret Manakato.
I became third.
Yeah, congratulations. That was your first foray in politics.
Yes. So I'm coming from that background. Let them forgive me. I'm asking for forgiveness. Let them forgive me for not having been criticizing these other people. So I was not there. I'm new. So I'm new. Maybe Maoneka very old. I'm not that old. I'm quite new also on the stage. So they should forgive me that I'm coming so hard. That is our tempo. Our tempo is hard. They gotta get used to it. As we monitor each and every step, every comment that comes out of him. So they should forgive us. And besides, we are working to get power from him. We didn't even have a political party under ECL. We had it a year before he left office. So how was I going to criticize so hard? I didn't even have the protection. Now I have the protection. I'm a party. You touch me, you've touched the whole Zambia. It's tough. I'm protected now. Now I can touch. So the opportunity that President Hakainde Hichilema has now, it can't be compared to anyone. There was no better time to be president in Zambia than 2021. That's why you saw, how many were we? We were 15, we were 16 presidents vying for that office. You know why? We saw an opportunity. Zambians were malleable. They were like in 1964. They wanted something new. They were fatigued. And people who are fatigued, you can shape them to a vision and they will follow through. They will run with you in thick, in thin. They will move with you. He had an opportunity to unite the country that had been so much polarized on the northern, eastern, and the southern. President Hakainde Hichilema had the golden opportunity now to just mesh. You know the quality he had? He was once a partner with Michael Sata. So the PF was not a foreign land, was not a foreign country. It was his familiar turf. He would have called you, you would go. He would call anyone. So he knew the PF. He had been partners, they say alliance part with them. So when he became president there, he should have simply said, okay, now I'm president. I'm going to have a council of presidents. He will be annexed to be the advisory. Mamene, he was promising when he was in opposition, saying, I'll be having Indaba. So apa, he would have simply said, I'm about opposition. Nkani had the structuring, mukamba branch. Send me a report. The report would have gone. He would have said, let me tell you, if I was president today, I would solve the debt crisis within just 3 months.
Tell us how you do it.
3 months, pa! It doesn't have to do with my intelligence. I don't have that kind of intelligence. It doesn't have to do with my experience. I do not have that kind of experience. But I know there are people who have the intelligence. There are people who have the connections. I would simply say, I'll have a special council. And that council will be made and headed by 2 people. The first one will be headed by His Excellency. Then he would be former President Hakainde Hichilema. The next one will be headed by the former President Edgar Lungu. And I'll give them a role and say, Hakainde Hichilema, you are friends with the West, with the Americans and the Europeans. The mandate for you is just one mandate. Go and meet France, meet Britain, meet USA. Ask them, convince them using your ways to restructure the state. Edgar Lungu, you are friends with China, Russia, and all these guys in the south. Here's agenda. Even our friends, the Chongqing are there. Between you two, let me see who can pull this one off. And I send the government, even take the Gulf Stream. And then Gulf Stream, you can leverage off Edgar Lungu. Those are power forces. Hakainde Hichilema. And that's what we're going to do. When I become president, these two, whether they like it or not, I'm incorporating them and I'm sending them on missions, not fighting them. I don't have anything to fight with.
Why do new incumbents fight their predecessor? Why do you think it is so? We saw KK first fight with Simon Kapwepwe's S12 friends, paralyzed relationships. We saw Kaunda harassed Chiluba, who was in the trade unions. When Chiluba became president, he harassed Kaunda. When we saw Mwanawasa campaigned for by Chiluba, when he became president, harassed Chiluba. We saw Michael Sata harassed Rupia Banda. We have seen it now with President Hakainde Hichilema harassing Edgar Lungu.
Remember they say MT Parliament kushenkana. You know, if you are getting things from the same pot, they are bound to be very similar. Even at home, when you buy similar toys for your children, when one misplaces, they will fight. But when you buy 2 things that are miles apart, one you buy them a goat, the other one a chicken, I don't think there are similarities there. So even fighting won't be there. Most of the times, these people share a background, with all due respect. And some of their fights don't even start when they're in power. Beka, iwe kaunda walinjingishe muma prison. I fight back. Because they are mates. With all due respect. Hakainde Hichilema is not my mate. I don't have business with him. If anything, about how he does his business, none of my business. I don't care. I was classmate with his daughter anyway. And I was doing homework with her. I think the big man didn't even know. We were classmates.
Yeah.
And we would prepare for exam, the 2 of us. Unfortunately, that time she didn't know I was EFF president. And that's just 2 years ago. Yeah. And I helped her. We helped each other. I helped the daughter at the backdrop of him locking me up in Chimbokaira. I would have revenged if I was bitter. But I've got no business with Hakainde Hichilema. I've got literally no business with him. I don't have time to fight for him. For what? We don't have time. As we're a different generation, our agenda is different. I've got people I'm fighting with. And Hakainde Hichilema is not one of them. Edgar Lungu is not one of them. We are competing also in our own league. Let them see what is happening in Senegal. He has even appointed permanent secretary, the man who helped him become a prime minister. He's now the one running the country, the one who helped him. Ask the young generation. We have our agenda, and our agenda is economic emancipation. If I'm a business, we are not interested. We are not interested in chasing money. If I was interested in chasing money, I'm a damn architect. And I'm fairly good. I've even had moments when I've become the best in this country and I've won accolades by the UN. Those are the credentials, with all due respect. Yeah. I can go to Abu Dhabi right now. They are looking for architects. And they would be paying me more than, in Zambian kwacha, they would be paying me more than 250,000 per month. That's how much money. But here I am, being insulted on social media and being told lunatic. But I don't care, because money is not our thing. We want economic emancipation. So we respect those who have fought. Maybe it is their things. But us, we don't have.
There's no room for. Oh, wonderful. Your critical views on the mining sector. You've opposed severely the sale of KCM and Mopani. Speak to those two issues.
When a parent dies, the best way you see that these children are wise is how they deal with the estates that remain with them. Bambiri, first thing they do is they sell the estates and share money. No, in shop you sell. Mwaka nempia, we have kana mkaloba, uyu have kana mbola bet. Ulowa mbola bet inga shaluba, wasana mkumusunga kuli umbi. We have seen that so often. Most rich people's children now are poor. When we were growing up, most of the people who were rich, unfortunately this time, are poor because they failed to take advantage of the inheritance that their parents passed on. At the national level, it's also like that. Anyway, our comparative advantage, our minerals. Pushefu muka chali dadi, eh? Wa uka imwachan. Muka chali dadi. Look, it's simple. Minerals is all we have. Let's not even chide the joker. That's wasting time. Minerals is all we have. Minerals is all we have. Let's stop joking. Minerals is the only true wealth we have in Zambia.
Are we joking with our minerals?
Joking is an understatement. We are insulting with our minerals. We are adulterating. We are prostituting with our minerals. It's a catastrophe. Our minerals is what will get us out of where we are. If you better to paper, America, we don't need America. America needs us. We don't need UK. UK needs us. You know why I say that? We are the ones with the raw material. Their industry would die if we stopped supplying them. We are the supplier. Now they have made us believe it's them, it's us who need them. We have got these medicines. Technology that they have. That technology they have is on sale. We can even buy it from China if they don't want to sell us. We can buy it elsewhere. But let them go and buy our copper from China if it is there. Let them go and buy lithium. If they don't buy from us, they won't buy anywhere. They won't buy anywhere. Nanji, God have mercy on us. What's our problem? We are the one with the golden chalice.
The Minister of Mines was on radio, and I was shocked to hear him say, look, he has not signed any consent agreement for the sale of Mopani. He says he has not given a certificate of agreement. He has stated, I think he was trying to argue from the point that the law says under Article 210, Sub-Article 2, that any sale of any major asset or its shares require that you have 2/3 majority. I think he's trying to run away from that. You commented about that. You said the minister has lied in Parliament, and he repeated his assertions. What he said in Parliament, he repeated it again on radio, that he has not signed any consent agreement. There's no share certificate he has signed. So he's surprised by people that are saying that they have sold Mopani. He says, we haven't sold Mopani, we've just done a subscription.
With all due respect, when the UPND talk to us, let them not think we are foolish. With all due respect, we are quite exposed. And we are even more learned than them. Let's not argue. Some of us are young generation. Those are the people who are sending us to school to go and learn. Now, they don't expect us to learn, no? We have learned now. So when we tell them what you are doing is wrong, they should be happy because we are able to see even more than they can see. That's an impeachable offense. And President Hakainde Hichilema will pay for what is happening at Mopani. That is not a joke they'll sweep under the carpet. Punishment, yena, even if I'll send them for restructuring. For these crimes, these they will be rectified. That will not chide about. So that is an impeachable offense. It's imprisonable, and it implicates the speaker. It implicates a lot of them. And we don't want those jokes. And for me, not just to be drilled, our minds is all we have. Go to KCM right now. KCM is under care and maintenance.
You were on the copper belt recently, and you visited Chingola and I think Chilabombwe. And now you're making an assertion that KCM is literally under care and maintenance. Explain.
They are not even mining. Even the Concola Deep, those things are down. They are just going to recycle a bit of that which is already dumped. The deep doesn't even go down. I talked to the workers there. We met the workers. It's not working. If I'm lying, please let them come and pick me up. I can give them my address. I don't lie. We went there. I know about KCM, they are hearing right now. And I think they are happy. Now they bring another story now of Mopani. Kutu Angasha. It's like, unfortunately, I don't know. Whatever my brother, that's why he's saying, he doesn't know what God is doing to him. Whatever he touches, just dies. KCM was limping under the PF. We can't give the PF credit to what they did to KCM. We are not supporting it. Now HH touches it. That's why I say we had so much hope that you rectify things. He sends it now to the coffin. That's what I've done to KCM. He doesn't live there. Mopani was sick, terminally sick. He has now sent it to ICU. We had problems, and we could easily point at the problem and say, here is a problem with Glencoe. That's the problem we had. Now, the problem has got Glencoe, IHR. It also now has a certificate which is not signed. It also has shares that were given without being paid for. It also has a sale whose money has not crossed. Now, he was saying we can't mine in courts. Trust me, man, he has gotten it out of courts. He has now taken it in the bush. We don't even know now where to start from, whether now we need to go to the sea or we need to go to space to rectify. Now, there's even so many people now involved now in Mopani now. So many interests. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to remove the clutter. That's the first thing. Remove the clutter and leave the concerned parties and say, okay, this problem is for the husband and wife. Remove from the crowd. Come, let's talk. How do we agree? You sort it out. Now you want to solve a problem. Nabanko bakuchinsa liba lidishibera anko isen. Nabanko bakuse sheke baizi bankani ibwerani. Man, you find that you have 1 million people now over one mine. It's complicating now. We knew we had 1.5 billion as our indebtedness. Now there's even now AHR's indebtedness. I don't know where it's taking us. And that mine will not take off. They were so what was he handing over and celebrating?
He literally says there was no handover if you listen to
what was he doing in Copperbelt?
Yeah.
What was he doing in Copperbelt?
That's what we are all now asking. So what exactly is IRIH doing here? They've committed $1.1 billion. Under what circumstances have they committed that $1.1 billion? They have stated that they've gotten the shareholding of 51%, and that we can testify to documents filed under the Lusaka Stock Exchange by ZCCMIH, because they are obliged. ZCCMIH that owns Mopani is listed on the stock exchange. So whatever transaction they do, they've told us that IRIH has gotten 51% shareholding, and that there will be a consideration of about $620 million. That will not be given to ZCMIH, by the way.
To go to settle the debt.
It will go, one of it will be to settle the debt. The others will go to capitalize in the mine. And I also wonder what we have done, because when I said you shares, you pay me. That's my money. If you want to bring investment, that's another story. But first, when you are paying for my shares, you can't say this money I'm paying you, you now use it to capitalize the mines. So the transaction has even been made complicated by the minister's pronouncements himself.
But it's not an accident. If you're paying attention, this is the modus operandi for the UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema. He always causes smoke. Let's make a road. Lusaka-5th April. Then in the picture, just pops up. Oh, there's macro ocean. Oh, macro ocean. What are they bringing? Up to now, UPND have failed to tell us what macro ocean is bringing to the table. It's a PPP. Public-private partnership. What are they bringing? We thought they were bringing money. No, dramas choka kunapsa. What are they bringing? You're saying they're investors. What are these investors bringing? Investor is to investment. You can't be an investor at no baba tauleshta. You're not a buyer, man. Maybe perhaps send or carry the bag. You're not a buyer. But if you're going to say, I'm the buyer, buy. So Macro Ocean has come on the door at Lusaka Carriageway, and they're not bringing anything. They're not bringing the technical know-how. They're not bringing the money because we already have the technical know-how. We already have the contractors. We already have the financing. So what is Macro Ocean? No, Macro Ocean has partnered with NAPSA to build. Partnered, what are they bringing? They are bringing partnership on building a road. I'm a damn architect. I know how to build that thing. And I'm the least among the engineers in the country. There are people who know these things. Why macro? Why macro? We know these things. We went to school. We are plenty unemployed. Allow them to do these things. So we have all these ghost companies working around. And now one day we'll know who the ghost is. It's just a matter of time.
Wonderful. As we wind up our discussion and our conversation, and I'm glad that you came, what are the prospects for the future? What is your reflection? What should we do?
Where we have reached is not a moment for lobbying. That's a cake. We are beyond there. It's a time to fight our way through. No one is coming to bail us out. That's why some words, they hate me. No, IMF bail out. No one is bailing you out. That's not the right way to use. No one is bailing us out. No one is coming to bail us out. Everybody's coming to eat off us, off wherever. Survival the fittest. Survival the fittest. You look, you blink, you are gone. That is the real life. You blink, you are gone. No one is coming to bail us out. No one is coming to build the Lobito corridor. No one. No one is going to build us a road between Kasama and Chipata, which is supposed to be a 2 hours drive. But you have to come to Lusaka. It takes you 2 days, even in this modern age. So no one is coming to bail us out. So the way forward is, we need to force it. We need a revolution. That's why I'm saying when we get into power, we'll renegotiate contracts. But Findeco's, I'm an architect. I keep saying Findeco's, that building alone, if we refurbished it, pumped in money, you know how much money it can bring us? It can bring us $1 million after 6 months. It would revitalize the economy. But to us, to those who don't have a vision, those are white elephants. So we'll renegotiate and give Zambia back ownership. That's the first step. Everybody, everywhere in the world right now, the key word is America first. Everybody is thinking first for themselves. First, imwe. If we could know, foreigners first. Foreigners first. No, it won't help. America won't help us. China won't help us. No one is coming to aid us. We already have what it takes. Let's negotiate, let's give ownership to ourselves. We will run those things, even as government, we will run it. Whoever it doesn't function, we fire. We bring in somebody. Still we find. We can't be 6 years old as a country. We still don't have people who can run a mine. Then we are not worth being a country. Then we are not worth being a country. If we can fail to run a mine as a country, then we are not a country, we are a joke. And under the EFF, we will run these things. If we fail, we fail. But we are getting them and we are running with them because we believe wherever we want to go, our feet will take us there.
Wonderful. Kasonde Mwenda, EFF president, I'm privileged to have hosted you. And we have walked the history of our country through your lenses. You can give us your last words and then we close.
Zambia is all we have. And when all is said and done, that's all we have. And we're going to die at the end of the day. All we are all trying to do is leave a footprint for the betterment. It doesn't matter whether you are Kaluvale, you are Chewa, you are... Me, I don't even tell people the trouble. They are wrong. They don't know for their own information. They don't even know what components are made of. I'm not what they think I am, most of them. If you are my tribes, kupo senshita. Let's just unite, tigwirizane, let's work together and develop this country. And for the youth, your time has come. Fish mulolela first by youth. Mkakote, let me tell by youth. Allow me to tell by youth.
Yes, please.
By youth, if you are thinking there's a future someday waiting for you, by youth, if you are thinking there's a future someday when you will have a chance, you are mistaken. Your chance is now. In chance, after this, these kids you are seeing, they will kick you off at Namukota. Very soon, in the next 5 years, us will be told odd. So those who are saying, no, your time will only come when you are old and people are telling you, Namunaka, Tushe Namukota. So I'm inviting the EFF. EFF is a revolution for you. Join it. Let's build the momentum and let's take over Zambia and let's start afresh.
Oh, wonderful. Kasonde Mwenda, EFF president, was our special guest today. We're looking at the state of our country and he has given his reflections. Until we have another special guest, God bless you, God bless Zambia, and shalom, shalom.